And Lucas, today we are talking about something that I don't know about until I'm going to read it. Is now the best time for small-time investors to invest in real estate?
Right now. And I got some reasons why I think it is the best time. If you want to buy a rental or 2 or 5 this year, that it's the best time maybe ever.
I like it. I could agree with some of that. And I think a lot of people have the idea that all of real estate is being bought up by hedge funds. And I saw a stat the other day that I think 90% of what's being, I don't know if that's in here, not trying to
No, I don't have any good stats.
90% of what's being purchased on the investment market right now is from people that own 10 or less.
Yeah,
So
let's start with that.
a vast majority of houses being bought are by people like us or smaller, not these hedge funds. They're not changing the market like people think.
And even in like 21, let's say, was probably the best year of real estate ever. The vast majority still is 1 to 10 investors, 1 to 10 a year, people buying 1 to 10 a year. But that number then was probably more like 60%, of the houses being bought by small-time investors, where now it's up to 90 because institutional investors have, backed out a ton, which leaves more opportunity for the mom and pop investors. So 3 reasons why I think now is the best opportunity for small-time investors. Less institutional competition. We talked about that. They're not gobbling up hundreds of houses at a time, which leaves those opportunities to people that are a lot smaller, which is good. More local off-market opportunities, which comes from an increase in distressed, inherited type of properties. So I think I saw a stat that foreclosures are up 19% over last year in the month of October. So there is some distress in the economy. So people are going to need a quick cash offer, right? And you guys, we can be the ones that give them that and not these institutional national buyers.
Yeah, and I think for some context, we're still way at 19% up is a large number. That's hundreds of thousands of houses probably.
Yeah.
But we're nowhere close to what we were in like 07, 08, 09. So
that's true.
But
they're out there. We bought.
Oh yeah, they're there.
We stopped 3 foreclosures last month.
No, they're there. Just the point is we're not like, I just don't want it. We're not like in an 08 right now. Where we're going to see millions of foreclosures.
Cool. So the market conditions favor us right now, specifically with interest rates. So they've definitely been going down. And they're kind of flattening, and have some predictability there. So they're at a point where money, if you can get a good lender on your side, like FasterFreedom Capital, get in the 6s for a 30-year fix, you can make rental properties work right now. Institutional money.
Where can they get in the 6s?
FasterFreedom Capital, I already said it.
Okay, go. Sorry.
Listen to me, Sam.
I am. I'm not even on my phone.
Yeah. So we can get into deals like that, but they're not at rates that are as favorable to the big time people right now. So they look at the return on real estate as not being as worth it as it was when rates were in the 4s, let's say. And I get that, but we look at it from a long-term perspective. They look at it from, I'm going to hold this for 3 years or 5 years and then sell everything else and make a profit.
Well, and I agree with that. And I think they just, it was pretty apparent that in 2020, 2021, that in the next few years, real estate was going to be higher in value in that 3 to 5 year time frame you mentioned, Walls. But also, the cash flows is a part of what they own. These are institutional buyers, right, Lucas? So I'm pretty sure that probably real estate taxes and insurance went up higher than they thought too. So their margins have been squeezed too. So that's why they're like peace. Because guess what? Lots of small people have been like peace.
For sure.
Too.
Yep. So there's therefore less competition, not just the hedge fund people from your everyday wholesalers. They used to do 20 a month or whatever, 20 a year. They're probably doing 5.
Hedge funders is what we call them.
Yep. So slight inventory shift. I say slight because I think it's the perfect amount for the small time investor. So inventory has increased a little bit, but not a ton. Not a ton to a point where a big company can swoop in and buy a whole bunch, but enough that there are some off-market deals floating around. And sellers continuing to value speed and convenience and more than price these days, especially with houses sitting a little longer on the market.
Yeah, I just think we're in more of a like anything else, supply demand, less competitive of a market, so you're able to get a little bit better deals. And I think it's not written on here exactly, but just having the expectation that you're going to be able to get a burst deal right. You got to buy it right, keep on the rehab, Make sure you get that 6.3, 6.4% over 30 years, and you're going to cash flow $180 a month. Just deal with it. You're not going to overspend, overpay, refinance at 3% and cash flow $400 a month like you could from 2020 to 2022. In our 12 years of investing, those are the only 2 years that has been a thing. So I think it's just more of just having the realistic expectation, I guess is the right word, Lucas, that the cash flow is the last thing that's important if you want to get into rentals.
No doubt. Other advantages that small-time
Gwen
investors have
Stefani.
right now are, no doubt, welcome to spider webs. I think we said that on another episode. Maybe
Walking
not.
the spider webs?
Anyway, just some sort of no
that a
doubt
song?
reference. Yeah, spider webs. No doubt.
Is that one of her famous songs?
Yeah. You should look it up, man.
I'm sure I
Dance
would
to
know it if I heard it.
Your kids would love it too.
Okay.
Small-time investors are more flexible, can make decisions quicker, whereas institutional investors have to probably plan for months and months and months, raise a whole bunch of capital, and by that time, who knows, the market conditions might shift. So say you want to buy 3 rentals next year. You can be patient and wait for that one to pop up, and boom, I want that one. If they don't pop up, you don't have to buy one for 6 months, and then maybe 2 pop up at the end of the year. Boom, boom. So you just have some flexibility there as a small-time investor, and you can make quick decisions to buy or not to buy.
Yeah, and I think we don't pitch it much, but the mentorship helps people do that. It is know when to strike. And before I let it go, you said have your kids listen to that. This morning, got up, got the girls ready. Courtney's sleeping in with the new baby, and Liza, I walk out there, and Liza's listening to that Black Eyed Peas song, I Want to Rock Right Now, at 6:45 in the morning in her pajamas. She got it on the Google Home, just
That's a Black
blasting.
Eyed Peas song?
Yeah. I Want to Rock. Yeah, I think so.
I don't think so.
Whatever. She was listening like a very hype song at 6:45 this morning, just ready to go.
Yeah, did she just tell Alexa to play it?
Girlfriend attacks the day.
Let's go. Yeah, hey, get you started right.
So the point Lucas was making before I went on a little turbulence was that, you're just more agile and you don't have to use the money. So there's a lot of advantages right now. And I personally think that real estate's going to get a little bit more affordable in the near future with just some policies and things that are going to be presented. But I also think that it's never going to be what it was. Remember how affordable real estate was, or you see the numbers back in the 50s, 60s. It's just going to continue to be less affordable. So I think the longer you wait, the harder it's going to be.
Yep. As a small-time investor, it's easier to build relationships with agents, wholesalers, and referral partners. As a bigger investor, it's more challenging to have that personal connection, and that's who people sell to, is people who have that personal connection. And just willing to buy properties that the big companies are going to ignore. They want portfolios of multiple properties at a time. If they don't fit this perfect buy box, then they're not going to buy it. But you got a little flexibility on your buy box, and you don't have to buy 10 at a time, 100 at a time. You can buy, hey, I want that one. Hey, I want that one. And those deals are coming up more and more.
Yeah, and I think hedge funds are probably, I don't know that they all bid off more they can chew. I don't know. I know some in St. Louis bid off more than they can chew, buying all these houses and letting them sit and not having the ability to rehab them and all those. So
100%. I got an example of that right now, Sam, real quick.
Go ahead.
Yeah, got a lead on 26 house portfolio, all about half rehab.
For us?
Yeah, we probably not in areas that we want to hold
Rougher
rentals,
areas,
but
okay.
but some people definitely not super rough, but anyway, and it was they foreclosed on it. They couldn't. This particular institution couldn't, inspect the bank now. So that's
The institution I know?
No.
Okay.
Maybe. Probably.
Okay. So, I think that's a good point. And then along with the lines of that is, got my thought back. Look at that stalling. I got it back. When you are a small-time investor, probably investing in an area you live, the streets like South City and St. Louis. A hedge fund's not going to know that don't buy on that block. One block over is good, or certain areas of certain cities are hit or miss. So having it's like insider information almost. It's like insider trading. If you live there, grew up there, kind of where things are being gentrified, where things are going south, where things are kind of moving. And a hedge fund's just not going to know that. They might have boots on the ground a little bit, but if you're in this every day, you have a huge advantage always, but especially right now.
Yeah. So to recap, I think, past few years have been tough for any type of investor, small or large, but as we're getting used to kind of the new market, rates are coming down, inventory's increasing a little bit, and there's more opportunities. I think now going forward throughout 2026 is going to be a really good time to pick off a few rentals, whether it's your first few or your 12th, 13th, and 14th. Either way, now's the time.
Yeah, I agree, and I said it a little bit earlier, but just really harping on the fact that what you buy right now will double in value in the next 15 years, if not 10 years. What you buy right now, if you have a property management company, you know what you're doing, the tenant will pay down the mortgage. What you buy right now will save you money on taxes. So just understanding that cash flow is, in my opinion, 4 out of 4 as far as the importance. If you want cash flow, flip or wholesale, in my opinion. So just know that real estate is still a really good strategy, and so are rentals. Just don't go into it assuming you're in a cash flow $500. You're not going to buy anything, or you're going to be sorely disappointed. All right. Peace out, Girl Scouts. See you on the next one. Share with a friend, right?
Right.